Universal Pictures has officially announced that Christopher Nolan will be directing a cinematic interpretation of The Odyssey, and debunking the rumors that Christopher Nolan himself recently expressed interest in directing a horror film, or horror-themed film, and I could not be less enthused. If it did turn out to be true that he was directing a horror film, that'd be something I'd absolutely be looking forward to. As pointless and dumb as I think award shows are, trust me, I do not care about the Oscars. I do not care about the Golden Globes or the Emmys. But every year, animated films and horror films are consistently looked over or brushed aside. So the idea of someone as admired and praised as Christopher Nolan is, making a horror-inspired film, could finally give the horror genre some recognition it deserves. Despite the belief that I don't think he'd be able to give us something much better than what we've seen in the past. Personally, I think he's pretty overrated. And overrated doesn't mean a bad thing, and I'm not trying to discredit Christopher Nolan. But when I envision The Odyssey by Christopher Nolan, I think of every other historical epic I've ever seen brought to us by very competent directors, and just how similar they all look. And in 2024, I felt spoiled by cinema. I'm not saying that 2024 was a great year for movies, but I think of all the films I've seen last year, from good to disappointing to just bad, what is Christopher Nolan going to give us that we haven't seen from him before? I mean, why is there so much hype around this announcement? In two of my most favorite movies of 2024, The Substance and Nosferatu, we got stunning visuals, captivating performances, original storytelling, at least from The Substance, and awe-inspiring cinematography. I haven't seen every Yorgos Lanthimos film, but based off Poor Things alone, a movie which I absolutely love and will always recommend. But if it were announced that Yorgos Lanthimos were directing The Odyssey, my anticipation would be through the roof, and I'd be on the edge of my seat waiting for that release date. And I couldn't even describe the itch on the back of my neck if I heard that Robert Eggers were to be the one directing The Odyssey. But looking back at Christopher Nolan's films, especially his most recent, Oppenheimer, there was nothing in that movie that would lead me to believe he wouldn't deliver something just as stale. While it was finally directed, and no, I'm not contradicting myself after calling him overrated, the film was disappointing and lackluster at best. Aside from Robert Downey Jr. playing Louis Strauss, there wasn't one standout performance in that entire film that I can point to and say, wow, that was captivating. The film doesn't even fall under the category slow burn. The big payoff we were all waiting for, the Trinity test, the world's first nuclear explosion detonation, might as well have been a microwave going off. And while one could argue, the effect was meant to be felt through the performances, and Cillian Murphy's horrifying expressions through nightmarish visions of those who have suffered and could suffer as a result of his overambition. And I agree, however, to a mass audience, an outsider looking in, you need to make us feel that on a whole new level. Perhaps on a level the people at the time did, when the first time they ever felt that blast. So on that note, the movie falls short. And listen, I love Batman Begins and The Dark Knight, but The Dark Knight Rises, he just completely half-assed that entire film. There are at least 2 shots in that movie where a guy just falls down, not being hit by anybody. And you can say, but Memento. I've seen Memento once, a long time ago, and people kept saying, oh, it's the twist that really makes this movie pop. Well, the whole time I watched it, I'm like, did no one really not see where this movie was going? I thought Inception was good, but beyond the spectacle of that movie, it's the same old Christopher Nolan. And the guy even admitted he didn't know what the hell was happening in Tenet. I haven't seen that one, but from what I kept hearing, I'm probably never going to watch it. But what do you think? Are you excited for Christopher Nolan's The Odyssey? Do you think that horror films deserve award recognition? Would you rather see Christopher Nolan direct a horror movie? Let me know in the comments. Thanks for watching.